Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is an English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Thursday after the Esha Salat, Thursday, the 19th of Jumadul Akhirah 1444, corresponding with the English date 12th of January 2023. This Majlis took place at Darul Uloom, Ashabus Suffa, Lalkari, Amravati, Maharashtra. Hazrat Wala starts off this majlis by quoting the ayat of the Quran Majid, هُوَ الَّذِي بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ وَإِنْ كَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلُ لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Hazrat Wala is saying, friends, dosto, buzrugo, azizo, friends, elders, and near and dear ones. In my mind, this was set and fixed that I'm not going to give bayan. In fact, when I was walking now and coming, I said the same thing because of such weakness, kamzori, zu'f. However, because you people did request, I will sit and say something. I never done this in the safar, but today I am going to carry out this majlis by reading from the kitab. In fact, reading from the kitab, if I manage to read from the kitab, this indeed will be something very great because I'm finding so much type of difficulty. Now, this kitab that I have in front of me is Dasturu Salikin. It started off like this here. I was given the Asharatu Qawaid fi Tazkiyatin Nufus, the 10 principles in the purification of the nafs, a risala of an Arab alim. We sat together and we managed to get this kitab translated. Now, the ulama have even given their approval and they liked this kitab. Allah Ta'ala put tremendous benefit in this, in what I am going to read out to you. And Allah Ta'ala make it such that it can be clear and open for you to understand. Now, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, from amongst his fara'id, there were 3 duties of his. We just quoted the ayat now. هُوَ الَّذِي بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ. So, from amongst the goals and the objectives of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam being commissioned are these 3 things. And the ulama are the warathatul anbiya. One is that of tilawat, the other one is that of tazkiyah, and the third one is that of ta'lim of kitab and sunnat. So recitation, purification, and education of Quran and sunnah. So when we say the ulama are warathatul anbiya, then it is necessary for the ulama then also to make ittiba of this year, which was from amongst the fundamental duties. Rather, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was commissioned for this particular purpose. So if we want to be in the niyabat and as the deputies of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, this is exactly what we have to do. However, if we make i'raz and we turn away, then due to this type of negligence on our behalf, much type of damage and deficiency, nuqsan, will come about to us. Now there's so much of importance to tilawat that the Nabi of Allah is commanded, or rather from his duties, it is that he must make tilawat. Allahu Akbar. Here the children read, and from their reading I understand that they had read well, and the calculation here will be that the ta'lim also is of a high standard. Now this is something very, very great. The hifz of the Quran, the fazilat, the virtue and the merit is tremendous, where a person encapsulates the entire Quran Majid in his heart. Allahu Akbar. Yesterday I also spoke about this year that the Hafiz of the Quran is saying that the entire Quran is on this chart and on this frame just in that amount of space, the entire Quran, of course, in a very small print. And then I said to this Hafiz that you are making ta'ajjub of this, whereas I'm making ta'ajjub at you, that you have the entire Quran in this heart of yours, in this much. Nevertheless, when I said this to him, he was also taken aback, and he was amazed at this type of an explanation and an example. So for tazkiyah, we have to make tawajjuh and turn our attention to ourselves. Now in such beautiful words, how Allah Ta'ala puts it forward, هُوَ الَّذِي بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ. It is He who sent amongst the unlettered nation, the Arab, رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ يَتْلُو عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتِهِ, who recites His ayat, the Quran, to them, وَيُزَكِّيهِمْ, spiritually purifies them, وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ, and teaches them the book, the Quran and wisdom, the Sunnah. وَإِنْ كَانُوا مِنْ قَبْلُ لَفِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Without doubt, most of the Arabs were in clear deviation, in error before this, before the teaching and the ta'aleem, the preaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam reached them. Now Allama Sharani asks a question, and himself he gives an answer. He says, Man warathatul anbiya, who are the true heirs of the Anbiya alayhi salatu wassalam? And then he gives the answer himself. He said, Al-ulama al-amilun, those ulama who practice on the teachings of Al-Quran, on that knowledge that they have. Now we understand from all of this that this is a very, very great virtue. Whoever it is, a hafiz, an alim, a qari, especially in this day and age that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has kept us in this line and in this particular department. Allahu Akbar. Allah ta'ala has kept us in this silsila. And what can I say? In this time, by and large, there is a great negligence towards a tazkiyah. Not only the general common masses, even the khawas, the religious and the ulama. Whereas if a person wants perfection, then there's a great need for him to do tilawat, and there's a great need for him of ta'aleem, of kitab and sunnah. And if he wants perfection also, he would have to make tazkiyah of himself, of his nafs. So Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, together with the tilawat, he seen that at no point in time should any type of pride come into him. Just yesterday or the day before, I was telling the people that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was going. He hears the footsteps of the Sahaba behind him, due to which something comes over him. He is overwhelmed with a certain type of condition in his heart, due to which Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam then immediately sits down. Meaning he wants the Sahaba then to go on, because some type of ujub or something came about in Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's heart. Now Hazrat Tanvi completed his kitab on this note, quoting this particular hadith. And then more than that, the Nabi of Allah, even though he had that type of a feeling, he makes it apparent to the people. Now this is no ordinary thing for a Nabi of Allah and from someone of such great position and stature to make this apparent is also something which is noteworthy. Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala was going. He was walking, and then people start walking then behind him. He turns around and then he says that, why are you people putting me into deception? You're making me maghrur, that I become deceited or proud or self-conceited or whatever it is. You're doing that to me. And on the other hand, you walking behind me, so you are disgracing yourself. So why don't you protect me and protect yourself by stop walking behind me, because then I would be safe from this type of evil characteristics coming into me of pride and self-conceitedness, and yourselves, you would not have to land yourself up disgracing yourself, making yourself dhalil. So there is a great need for islah. It is or for that reason that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam attached so much of importance to it that he himself sat down. Now, so there was a great alim, and Umar radiallahu ta'ala summoned him, and he said, listen, I want you to stay here with me, and every single day I want you to report to me. You must come and you must sit with me. Now you will find this narration in Faizul Qadir. It is a hadith kitab. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab used to look for narrations of this nature, and then he would take it and share it with the ulama. And nevertheless, he kept him here for 1 long year. Now tell me, from this year is Khanka not established? Nevertheless, after he keeps him there for such a long time, what does he tell him? أخوف ما أخاف على أمتي قل أخوف ما أخاف عليكم or على أمتي كل منافق عليم اللسان. The thing that I fear most against my ummah is that munafiq who is well versed. For him to speak is nothing, but his heart is negligent. His heart is somewhere else. He's not connected to Allah, but he is absolutely good in oratory. He said, I kept you here for the same type of reason, because I had some type of doubts or things troubling me about you. Therefore, I've kept you here, and now that I'm clear about this here, I give you the permission. Now you may leave and go and continue with your work and do as you please regarding Dawat and Tabligh, etc. There was a Buzruk, and Shaitan now comes to him, and he says to him, alas, what to do? You have escaped from my grip. And what did Shaitan say? What did this Buzruk then reply to that? No, not yet. I still have some few moments of my life left. After that, if I am saved from your plot, then I am safe. Now look at this, right till the end, right until Maut, they were so cared about their own Islah and their hearts. So this Islah is for the ulama and for the Sufiya. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned, Taraktu fikum amrain. Shay'ain, I left with you 2 things, Kitabullah wa Sunnati. I left the Quran and the Hadith. So, هو الذي بعث في الأميين رسولا منهم, this ayat, Allah Ta'ala, we are not in this group. However, most definitely Allah has kept us in this line. So, Allama Sha'rani is saying, أقول من ورثة الأنبياء أقول العلماء العاملون. Not just every alim is an heir or an inheritor of the Anbiya, but rather that alim which is practicing on the knowledge that Allah Ta'ala had given him of Quran. Now, in the end, Allama Ibrahim Balyawi, Hazrat Qari Tayyib Sahab, all these people came and they bowed down in front of Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab. What was it all about and what was it for? It was for the same Islah and Reformation. Now Allama Maulana Rum has mentioned that one amongst the most difficult things is for a person to bow down in front of the Khalifas of his own Sheikh. Now what happens? He was Naqis. So the Sheikh did not bless him with that mantle of Khilafat or whatever it was. He is Naqis. And then from amongst the greatest things which is difficult upon him is now to make ruju and turn to the Khalifas of his own Sheikh, because they sat together in one Majlis in front of the Sheikh, due to which such a person is then deprived completely and totally. Now Allah Ta'ala, we are busy, and He has given us the tawfiq to be in ta'lim of Kitab and Sunnat. Together with that, the importance of Tazkiyah. Hazrat Tanvi used to save himself a lot from these type of things. Now, you must be knowing about the place where Maulana Ali Mia comes from, rather where Shah Alamullah comes from, Takya, Raibareli, Takya. Nevertheless, on one occasion, Hazrat Tanvi is going, he's passing by, he's on the road, he's passing by this locality, and in that town, a Buzurg has a dream in which he sees Hazrat Tanvi passing by this town, and he's told, call Ashraf Ali, call Ashraf Ali. So then these people come, the caravan leaves, and they meet Hazrat Tanvi, and they say to him about this dream, and they say to him that please come. He says, listen, on this occasion, most definitely I cannot come. You're telling me about a dream, that I should come there, and I've been called in this dream, and I should come here to such a great place where Shah Alamullah was. So if I'm going to come on this note here, there's going to be great fame and name for me. So in order for me to save myself from this here, I will not attend or accept your invitation on this occasion, but rather in future sometime I would pass by and pop in. Allahu Akbar. Hazrat Tanvi also goes to Hazrat Gangohi, and he says that, Hazrat, my heart desires that I sit in solitude. And Hazrat Gangohi, what does he say to him? No, don't sit in solitude, because in Khalwat, there is shuhrat. When people hear you sitting in solitude, there will be some cry of name and fame for you, that you are so pious, you're sitting in solitude. And in shuhrat there is afat. And in this name and fame, there is great trials and tribulations that a person can be put through spiritually. Allahu Akbar. So Allah Ta'ala has given us the silsila. And it is dini. And if it is dini, then it is nothing other than this what we are doing now. Just yesterday, Hazrat Wala saying, I was reading and I came across this, that muqarrabat. Now let's go. Hazrat Wala said that he is going to quote from this kitab. This particular kitab, now Hazrat starts reading. One is takhliya and the other one is tahliya. One is divesting, removing what's there, the unwanted, and then tahliya, decorating and embellishing. So here, the reality of tazkiyah is to first clean up, divest the carnal self of all evil traits, acts of disobedience and sins. That's the first point. Awwalan, that's what we need to do. Thereafter, thaniyan, after that, tahliya, to embellish it by doing acts of obedience and everything else which would draw a person closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now yesterday Hazrat Wala is saying, I just read in a kitab that in muqarrabat, in the acts of obedience that we're supposed to be doing, listen, there's some type of gunjaish and leeway if we miss out this or that or the other, meaning in our nawafil, etc., in getting close to Allah. However, in ma'asi, there is no gunjaish. There completely and totally we have to save ourselves from that. Allahu Akbar. And that's exactly what they're saying here. First, takhliya, to clean yourself and rid yourself of all the evil traits and characteristics. And then tahliya. So today also, if we have, or the talaba that are completing, listen, they are completing, but they will get sanad-e faragh. Sanat-e tahsil, they completed, they will get their certificates and they have completed their course. But remember, together with that, they need to pay particular attention to najat-e nafs, to saving their nafs. And then when that happens, then they will achieve their objective. Rather, they will continue their lives in this manner. And what's the fact of the matter? Andari ra, mi kharash o mi tarash, ta dema akhir, dame farig mabash. So, in this path, there are so many difficulties, challenges, ups, downs, this, that, and the other. However, ta dame akhir, dame farig mabash. Right till the end, don't leave yourself idle for even just a moment. Rather, the most important characteristic here I am saying to you is tazkiyah of the nafs. So, somewhere in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala has put first ta'aleem of kitab and sunnah. And here we see that Allah Ta'ala has put forward here first the tazkiyah of the nafs. Now, Maulana Thanvi went to Hazrat Haji Imdadullah to spend time in his khidmat, in his company for 6 long months. And his house people told him, Ashraf Ali, what you doing? You studied for so many years. You know so much. Are you still going to carry on and do this and that? But he went. When he went there for Islah and Tarbiyat, Hazrat Haji Saheb had complete confidence in him. Therefore, he told him, this kitab that I have with me on Taqdeer, he says, Ashraf Ali, translate this kitab. It will be of great benefit to the people. Now, in that time, Maulana Zulfikar Saheb of Darul Uloom Deoband, a great adib and a master of language, he says, none could have made a tarjuma of this nature, this caliber, the like of what Hazrat Thanvi had done and offered. What a type of tarjuma he had offered and made. He thinks that in his opinion, nobody could have done a tarjuma like that. Therefore, I am saying, if a person needs to make waz, etc., and he has two kitabs with him, At-Tadbir, fi Isqat At-Tadbir, the Taqdeer kitab of Hazrat Shah Ibn Ataullah Iskandari, and the other one is the Dasturu Salikin. He will have no problems whatsoever. There are so many topics and so many different articles that it would not come to an end. So together with having ta'alluq with ilm deen, we have to have fikr for our islah, and we can never ever be farigh and complete regarding this. This of islah continues. And when you do this, आपसे दीन की काम खूब ही खूब होगा. When you do this, then most definitely tremendous work of deen will be taken from you and you will carry out. Allah Ta'ala grant me and all the Muslimin as well. I mean, if Hazrat Thanvi feared so much and he understood the need, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam feared that ujub and to become self-conceited and pride may enter him, then shouldn't we be all the more concerned? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and purify us from this raza'il and ghawail, the abhorrent characteristics, features and traits. Allah Ta'ala bless us all with His nisbat and this grand connection with Him. All our aslaf, our pious predecessors, were all decorated, embellished with this trait of the tazkiyah, and they reach high stages. So in the true sense then, Sahih mana mein, then we can be called Qasimi, and in the true sense we can be called Rashidi, etc. Now, and then after all of that, Hazrat tries to round up and brings to an end where I think an alim shouts out in the gathering there that Hazrat, maybe you're forgetting that about the ijazat of hadith. And then Hazrat then continues again. He goes on to say, yes, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb gave me ijazat of the ahadith, and he said to me, tumko tamam marwiyat ki ijazat deta hu, I give you ijazat from my side of all the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rather, I am giving you the ijazat and the instruction from now that you would teach the Bukhari Sharif. And then I started teaching the Bukhari Sharif. And one very qabil, master alim of note, young also, he comes to me and he says to me that don't you have ijazat of musalsalat? And I said, yes, most definitely. So he said, but why do you not write it? So I said to him that maybe you should write it. And we start speaking, and I say to him that I have the ijazat of the musalsalat from Hazrat Shaykhul Hadith. I also have ijazat of hadith from Maulana Habibur Rahman Azami. And of course, I said to you, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb said, from all the ahadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, on one occasion, it was myself, Maulana Abdul Halim, Hazrat Wala is saying, Maulana Rabi Saheb, and all of us had one kitab, and we were in front of Hazrat Shaykhul Hadith, and at that time, he gave us ijazat of hadith, the musalsalat. So Allah Ta'ala give me also the tawfiq of making qadr of this year, that we are so greatly connected to the muhaddithin, and Allah Ta'ala increase us amongst this group, include us amongst this group. So therefore I am also giving you ijazat of the musalsalat, and how Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb said, I am also giving you ijazat of all the ahadith. of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, like how I was given ijazat from my Shaykh Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb. Yes, together with that, Allah Ta'ala give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of looking after the shara'it, the conditions, the adab, the barakat, etc. Now let us make dua. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin Nabiyil Ummi. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin Nabiyil Ummi. اللهم صل على محمد النبي الأمي. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للذين كفروا واغفر لنا ربنا إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا واخطأنا. ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا. ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. Now, so many of the du'as have already come in this what we have recited. But then too I am saying, Allah Ta'ala fulfill all our needs. And Allah Ta'ala complete all our needs regarding ma'ash and ma'ad, our livelihood and the akhirat. All the muhaddithin, the salihin, rather through the sadaqah and tufail of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah Ta'ala bless us with all our needs. Allah Ta'ala give us complete sihat and give us complete shifa from all these type of sicknesses, jealousy, pride, conceitedness, and the list goes on. Allah Ta'ala purify us from all of this completely. With the barakat and sadaqah tufail of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba. So many ulama here have given bayans as well in this jalsa, in this gathering. Allah Ta'ala grant them all jazai khair. Allah Ta'ala give immense progress, tarakki to the madrasa and especially to the muntazimeen who are seeing to all the needs of this madrasa. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.